Hi, my name is Dikshita, and I have had the privilege of calling Walpole home for almost my entire life, which is why I'm incredibly excited to talk to you today about Article 16, which has been drafted with support from members of Walpole Green, Walpole's Recycling Committee, and Stephen and Autumn from Walpole High's Green Team. Now, the goal of Article 16 is to help protect the environment in our town and preserve the health and general well-being of members of our community. The article proposes a bylaw that would phase out the distribution of thin film single-use plastic checkout bags in our town and promote the use of reusable bags instead. Now, the two big questions to ask here are, why phase out plastic bags, and why can't we just get really good at recycling them? The problem with recycling is that plastic bags can't actually be put in our residential recycling bin, and the percentage of plastic bags that actually make their way to an appropriate recycling collection center is very small. And a lot of those bags end up in the trash anyways because they're too contaminated to be recycled. This is especially true for curbside plastic bag recycling like that which is available in grocery stores. Also, even if we recycle plastic bags, we still need to get rid of them eventually. The problem here is that we as a society just don't have a good, non-toxic way to dispose of plastic. There are two main ways to get rid of plastic bags: burning it or letting it break down in the environment. Both of these ways have negative impacts on human and environmental health. Burning plastic releases toxic fumes like dioxins, furans, and PCBs into the air, whereas plastic bags that break down in the environment break down into microplastics, which are nearly impossible to remove from the nearby areas. These microplastics can also have a negative impact on our health. Now, the bags affected by the bylaw are the thin film single-use plastic bags that stores distribute at the point of sale that are less than 0.04 of an inch thick. That said, those thin film plastic bags, which normally come without handles, that are used for the temporary storage of produce, newspapers, meat, bulk food, wet items, or pet waste, are exempt. So those temporary handleless bags that are still allowed under this bylaw. And so it really just is those plastic bags that you get at checkout. Now, instead of these plastic bags, retail establishments are allowed to sell or distribute recyclable paper bags or reusable checkout bags. And under the bylaw, retail establishments would also be allowed to charge for these bags. So not only is phasing out plastic bags and encouraging reusable bags good for the environment, but in the long term, it can also save retailers money because retailers have to purchase less bags to distribute, and they would be able to charge for the bags that they do distribute. Now, regarding their effect on retail establishments, we spoke to 60 businesses in Walpole that offer checkout bags, so restaurants, grocery stores, and retailers. And it turns out that the vast majority of establishments we spoke to are actually already using paper or are part of a larger corporation that is familiar with the transition from plastic to paper and reusables. To ease the transition further, the bylaw proposes a phasing out process, so this allows businesses currently distributing plastic bags to have time to adjust. After approval from the Attorney General, large businesses that have retail spaces larger than or equal to 3,500 square feet would have 6 months to transition to non-plastic checkout bag alternatives. Small businesses would have up to a year to make that transition. The bylaw also includes a clause that if a transition away from plastic bags would cause undue hardship on a retail establishment, or if an establishment requires some additional time to draw down on an existing inventory of thin film single-use plastic checkout bags, then the retail establishment can request exemption from the ban for a period of up to 6 months. This timeline can change if needed to account for COVID-19 related issues. Regulations around plastic bags are not new. In fact, as of this past October, 141 different towns and cities in Massachusetts have passed plastic bag bans. This includes several of our neighbors and nearby towns like Sharon, Canton, Medfield, Dover, Dedham, and more. In fact, much of the language of the bylaw has been borrowed from the bylaws of our neighboring towns and adopted to meet the needs of our community here in Walpole. So, in summary, Article 16 proposes a bylaw to phase out the use of thin film single-use plastic checkout bags. It would have Walpole join the other 141 towns and cities that have passed similar regulations in Massachusetts, and ultimately has the goal of making Walpole more environmentally friendly, preserving the health of our community, and protecting our beautiful town. Thank you.